Now I invite you into a time of meditation, of a mindfulness experiment. Close your eyes to remove distractions if you are comfortable with that. And journey with me from Jerusalem to Emmaus. Imagine yourself on the road out of Jerusalem. You are filled with grief over the loss of your teacher, Jesus of Nazareth, whom you have been following for the last year or so. You have seen him do amazing miracles. Whenever you heard him speak, your very being burned with the truth of it. It was like the very light of God was shining on you. You had believed that he was the Messiah of God, the anointed Son of David, who you had been expecting all of your life. When he came to Jerusalem a week ago, you thought it was to retake the throne of his ancestor, to kick out the filthy Romans and even replace the corrupt priesthood. But your hopes were dashed to pieces when he did none of those things and ended up being tried and executed as a criminal. You had stayed with the other disciples through the Sabbath and had intended to return back home today, making the 7-mile walk back to the city of Emmaus. However, before you left, several of the women burst into the house where you were staying with a crazy story. They had gone at first light to the tomb of Jesus, given to him by some rich benefactor, with flowers and spices. They had intended to finish the burial rites that they were unable to complete before the Sabbath, but when they got there, the stone in front of the tomb had been rolled away and the tomb was empty. They even conjure up a story about men in dazzling clothes, saying that he had been raised from the dead. You consider yourself a rational person. You know such things are not possible, no matter how much you wish they were. Peter had gone to check it out and confirmed that the tomb was empty, but no dazzling clothed people. You and your friend are talking about all these things as you walk along the road, wondering why the women would come up with such crazy tales. As you walk along, you come upon a fellow traveler resting on a tree stump. You greet one another and offer him a drink of water, which he refuses. He asks if you mind him walking with you. This road can be dangerous, and Jesus would have invited him to walk with him, so you do the same. He asks you what you were talking about, and you are amazed that he seems to be completely unaware of the recent events that have so overwhelmed your focus. After telling the story, you confess to your hopes, now dashed, that he might have been the Messiah. To your great surprise, he scolds you for this admission. "Oh, how foolish you are," he says, "and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared." As you travel in body, he brings you on a journey through Tanakh. He lifts up the Torah, the instruction of Moses, the offspring of the woman who will crush the head of the serpent but is wounded in the process, the one greater than Moses who would come, the great high priest of the order Melchizedek. He opens to you the Nevi'im, the prophets, with the promise of David and an everlasting throne. the suffering servant who was to be wounded for our transgressions. He explains the writings, the Ketuvim, the Psalms of sorrow and victory, wisdom calling in the streets, and Judas Maccabeus suffering for the salvation of the nations. As he speaks, your spirit lifts, as if finally recognizing the music that had been in the background all this time. When you finally get to Emmaus, you invite him home for dinner and offer him a room for the night. Jesus and Torah taught you to be hospitable, but you secretly just want to hear him more. He agrees and you sit down to a meal. He takes bread, blesses it, and breaks it, and gives it to you. And it is in this moment that you recognize him as Jesus, your teacher and friend. And in that moment of recognition, he disappears. You look at your friend and both take for the door, feeling as if you could run all the way back to Jerusalem to tell the others. As you travel, you try to put into words all the emotion that you feel and wonder, who is going to believe you?